Hi everybody and welcome to That's Football. Well, we've had the chosen one, we've had the special one, and now at Chelsea we're going to have the next one. And who is the next one going to be? Well, look, we're going to delve into that. Get your comments in below. At the moment, we sort of can figure out that it's Zerbi or McKenna, based on what credible journalists are saying and also what the bookies have. There are other options out there. I suppose the first thing I would say, and there's a few strands I want to sort of bring into this, that we're going to bring into the podcast on when it comes out on Friday in more depth. But I think it's very, very clear that Chelsea want a head coach and not a manager. Now, I'm not necessarily a big fan of that. I think that when you look at Jurgen Klopp, he's a manager. When you look at Pep Guardiola, he's a manager. And they are the most successful managers in the Premier League over the last decade. What is a manager and what is a head coach? A manager is somebody that is in tune with your football club, that week in, week out can sit in front of the press, manage the fan base, manage the club. And that takes a lot of responsibility and it makes you the figurehead of that football club. And I think that's the way to be successful. What we're seeing at Chelsea, and I think what we're seeing at other clubs, is this desire to reduce that influence of the manager and control it at a higher level. So that when the clubs say, we are selling Conor Gallagher and we are selling Trevor Chalobah, and when Pochettino says, I don't want to do that, well, we're not on the same page, you may as well leave, and Pochettino leaves. That is a head coach that Chelsea want. It is not a manager, because a manager is being taken out of the big decisions. And I, for one, I'm not really that in agreement. I think the Premier League is the most exposed league in the world. And I think as the manager, you are always going to be the figurehead, because when the season's on, you're going to be talking 6, 7, 8 times a week in front of the press as the figurehead of the team. You can't then go back into the boardroom and be told, you're not in charge of transfers, you're not in charge of sales, and we control the direction of this club. Now, for me, I think we're seeing the Americanization of football in a sense. I think it's becoming too brand specific. I think it's becoming a bit franchised, where managers are now the expendables, where even if you have a season that shows a bit of promise, nope, you're gone. You don't fit in with what we've got. So I think Chelsea are moving into a very dangerous era. I think we were right to call it the next one. And I don't know whether it's the right thing for football, because I think in football, you want a manager that you feel is part of you. And Jurgen Klopp was part of Liverpool, and Sir Alex Ferguson was part of Manchester United. They indoctrinated themselves into those cities, into those fan bases, and understood what it was like, and there was a togetherness. I think there is now a detachment being formed by managers, by certain clubs in the way that they're running. And hence, that's probably why Chelsea are looking at Zerbi, who worked under this system at Brighton, or Kieran McKenna, who's young and inexperienced and would obviously walk into Chelsea and need that support network and be a head coach. So it's not surprising. I suppose the big thing is for Chelsea, as we look at the top 5 contenders for the job now, you've got Zerbi, who is slightly ahead of Kieran McKenna. You've got Thomas Frank as third favourite. Then you've got Amorim, and then you've got Thomas Tuchel, and they are the top 5 candidates for the for the Chelsea job at the moment. The big thing that jumps out to me, and I'd be very interested to get your comments on this, if I say the word Pochettino leaves and Chelsea's next manager is Zerbi, Frank, or McKenna, are Chelsea stronger or worse off? There's a great bit from an Alan Partridge show where they has a guest on who's doing a song, and they're just randomly singing things out. What would life be without porridge? Better. What would life be without phones? Worse. You know, it's like a song. What will Chelsea be without Poch? Better. What will Chelsea be without Poch? Worse. Are they better or worse? Well, it depends what you do. Are Chelsea better off with Zerbi? No. I generally think when you sack a manager or replace a manager, the fundamental thing at the very core of it is it an improvement? Now, I speak on the behalf of Manchester United because that's my club. I don't speak on behalf of Man United, but in relation to Man United managerial changes. Sir Alex Ferguson to Moyes, worse. Always going to be worse. You're replacing our greatest ever manager. Jurgen Klopp to Arne Slot, always going to be worse. You're replacing a legend. You hope Slot's going to do well, but it's going to be very, very difficult. It has to be a drop-off because you're replacing legendary coaches. Moyes to Van Gaal, better. Van Gaal to Mourinho, better. Mourinho to Ole, worse. Ole to Ten Hag, better. there is a trajectory and you really want to be going better. Chelsea, Tuchel to Potter, worse. Potter to Lampard, even worse. Lampard to Poch, better. Poch to Zerbi, I don't know. Poch to McKenna, I don't know. And the thing is, that's not a good look for Chelsea. Like, Poch to Ancelotti, better. Poch to Alonso, you can see it enthusiastically, excitingly better. I'm not saying Alonso is a better coach than Poch. I'm just saying you could understand the buzz and the hype of that. Poch to Zerbi, hold on a minute. Had a really bad season for Brighton. Very stuck in his ways in the way that he plays. Never been anywhere near a big club. It's a risk. Poch to McKenna, done very well with Ipswich, but very, very inexperienced. And it's a massive job at Chelsea. And we already know that Chelsea dressing room didn't respect or listen to Potter. So, risky. Poch to Frank. So, this is my thing. We seem to have this managerial merry-go-round at the moment. And I don't know who's driving it. Bad ownership? People who don't understand football? It's not hard to understand football. Football fans want managers that they think are going to be at their club for 10 years, that will ingratiate themselves with the fans and have a shared vision. Jurgen Klopp did it, as we said. I don't think football fans get excited about a manager being changed every season. I really genuinely don't think that's what football fans want. And it's been proven to be the wrong way to be successful anyway. I mean, look, Arsenal resisted the temptation to sack Arteta and it's bearing fruit, obviously. But it seems to me that some football clubs are running their football clubs like unaccountable prats who don't understand football. Like, if anything goes wrong, change the manager. But don't look at ourselves and don't look at the players. Change the manager until we find this magic potion that's the manager. It's not about that. Jurgen Klopp didn't exclusively make Liverpool successful, but the board and the players certainly didn't. And the same with Pep Guardiola. So I think that I don't know what Chelsea are chasing here. And I don't see the I don't see, looking from the outside in, I don't see the huge improvement. I don't see why you would start building a foundation with Poch and then knock it all down again to build another foundation with a coach that isn't clearly infinitely better than Poch. So I don't really still understand what they're doing. And if they do replace Poch with a Zerbi or a McKenna, what's the guarantee that it's a better project? And I think that's the thing that Chelsea fans probably are struggling with a little bit. Where is the definitive improvement? Where is the grand plan? Or is it just a board that fell out with a manager and he wants another manager? Because that's what it feels like. It feels to me like the board have fallen out with Pochettino and pulled rank and gone, well, we're in charge, you can go. And it's back to square one with another manager. And what if they fall out with them in a year's time? It's a weird one. Where do I think Chelsea should go next? I don't want McKenna to go to Chelsea. The same reason I don't want him to go Man United. I think he's a good up-and-coming manager and it's a step too soon. With De Zerbi, I'm not convinced. Frank, no. Amorim is interesting, but has risks, of course, coming over from Sporting Lisbon. I mean, as much as it pains me to say it, I think Thomas Tuchel probably is the right choice because he's got the experience of the Premier League, he's got the experience of Chelsea, and he would demand a respect. But he's very low down on the list for Chelsea at the moment. So I don't know where they're going to go next. I would imagine it's going to be De Zerbi, but it's a big risk. It is a big risk. So I think that's where they're going to go next. But I think we'll have to just christen them the next one and start taking bets on how long it is, how long they last. Because if you can last longer, if you can make it to 12 months as a Chelsea manager under Todd Bowley, you've broke the record. What was Tuchel? 2 months. Potter, 7 months. Pochettino, 10, 11 months. Get your comments in below, smash a like on the video, and of course, leave us your thoughts. Take care.